Hi guys. I guess I'm the prompter this week. Woo woo. I'm so excited. Okay, so this week's readings talks about student affairs as far as the actual um, models um, that we use and how in like most of the chapters it talks about um, how one size doesn't fit all on how one model doesn't fit um, every instance. Just like we've been talking about mostly with the student development, student theories we were talking about. Not one theory is going to fit every instance, and not one model is going to fit every situation for every student. The one model that stuck out to me though the most was the out of the classroom centered model, and I was basically talking about different models discussing extracurricular activities because we all know as professionals that students not only learn out of the classroom, in the classroom, sorry, but they also learn out of the classroom, and that experience shapes their whole collegiate career from start to finish. I kind of sound like Rachel Ray. But moving on from that, it also kind of tied into our readings for our actual campus culture class for this Saturday. It was congruent in that aspect where we're talking about more so the epistemological. I don't think I'm saying that word correctly. Hold on, let me get it. Let me get the article up so I can make sure I'm pronouncing this correctly because that would be very awkward if I give you a detail and not be right. Um, it was the article by Sui, or however you pronounce their name, and they referenced the epistemological module regarding hold on one second, regarding campus culture and critical thinking. And so that whole aspect talked about the outer experience that students receive around campus and how that campus culture influences that outer experience. Do students interact with other students with different majors? Do they interact with faculty? How do they interact with them? And how does that connect, help shape, and develop them as a student? And so going on with that, I was talking to a couple of student organizations this week on campus and asking them how they're enjoying their extracurricular experience at Valdosta State. And a lot of them expressed the feeling, and it was a mutual feeling that there is a disconnect between the culture of their organization and the administrators and staff who are supervising them. And so um, certain organizations want to hold certain events and certain functions, but the administration doesn't understand those functions, and therefore they tell the students automatically no that they can't do it because there's the disconnect. The student, the faculty, not the faculty, I'm sorry, the staff is not engaging with the student organization, and therefore they are lacking the information from that student organization to understand what's going on. And also in part two, the student organization is not informing the staff of what exactly is going on because they're frustrated that the staff does not know or are expected to know these notions of what's expected, or the staff is expected to know what this organization is doing because each organization does this, or because this should have been done while they were in college. And so, as a professional, I express to those organizations the simple fact that you cannot expect certain people or certain members because either they're all part of the same culture of you or maybe even part of the same organization of you to be able to understand why you're doing something. And it's our job as students leaders on campus to use our privilege to inform and educate those staff members to prevent this from happening in the future, but also to because I think a lot of times our students kind of think about the present and they don't realize how impactful they can be towards changing something because they don't see change as being um what's the word I'm looking for? Change as being like right now in the present as being instant. They're used to instant gratification. That's what I was looking for. See, I knew it was somewhere. They're looking for instant gratification and not longevity and not sustainability. And so trying to augment that mindset into having students think more so of the long term effects and not more so the right now short term effects of that aspect has been one challenge I have. But now instead of prompting questions for you, I'm going to prompt a question for you, but I'm also going to prompt a case study for you. So let's say that you were working on a campus institution and you worked in one of the offices as a graduate assistant. But you were familiar with some of the student organizations. You go to their events and such, and you hang out and mingle with them outside of your role as a administrator or staff member on campus, but mind you, you're still a graduate student. But then one day, one of the other staff members in the office asked you to attend their event because they suspect that something might be wrong. Um, and they feel as though that if they go in their role, then they won't identify them. They won't. The students won't engage in that wrong behavior. But if you go unsuspectingly as a student, um, but still expected to do staff-oriented responsibilities, um, then they won't suspect you be there to check on them to see if they're doing something wrong. So basically, what I'm asking is to you to do what, in the sense of how would you handle a situation where you put in a predicament where you were not forced, but put in a situation where you were expected to go to the student organization's event and then mislead them into the simple fact that they think that you're there to enjoy the event, but you're there for alternative means. How would you approach that situation, and what would be your response in engaging into an educational conversation with that supervisor the next day and expressing your feelings towards maybe the uncomfortability or the um, awkwardness that you were placed in? So I would love to hear your feedback from that. If you need more like help in me going into more detail about it, please respond and I'll definitely get more detailed and create a better scenario. But I hope that was enough to kind of engage in conversation to kind of get things going. But I'm looking forward to your post, guys. And for if you new here, if we're interviewing my campus culture class tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow or today since it is 12 o'clock. Or if I not, I'll see the rest of you next week. Holler.